Welcome to FPV's Meet the Candidates. I'm your host, Steve Vest. This Cable 10 series allows you, the voter, to hear directly from the candidates on the issues important to you. We have collected questions via email and other sources, and this is leading up to the general election on November 5th. We took questions from the community via email and social media, so let's jump right in. Today's guest is Katrisha Waldridge, and you're a candidate for mayor, and I'd like to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm going to start off real easy. Just tell us about yourself and why you're just chosen to run for mayor.
Well, I'm now a city commissioner. So again, my name is Katrisha Waldridge. I am a city commissioner right now. I'm a mom of two boys. I have a son, Josiah, who is at Frankfort High. He's a soccer player there. And I have Jason, who's 21, and he joined the Army this year. So he is in Arizona at Hakachua. And so those are my pride and possessions. The best thing I've probably done in my life is be a mom, and I just love them to death. But why do I want to be mayor? Well, to be honest, I feel like I've been carrying myself as mayor for the last 6 years of serving. I've served 6 years. 4 of those, I have been vice mayor, which is mayor pro temp here in the city of Frankfort. I feel I've carried myself as a mayor, and I've done the things that a mayor should do. What is that? When you look at that, a lot of people get our government confused. We are a city manager-ran government, and the mayor, her position, or my position as city commissioner, will be the only difference. He signs when 3 of us say sign. So he has to get approval, so 2 others have to agree with him to sign. He also gives the oath of office to fire and police, which he reads from a piece of paper. He also leads our commission meetings, so he is the chair of our commission meetings and runs those for us. And he also appoints 2 positions, but all other positions for the board or committees over Frankfort, they come to the city commission for us to approve. So to me, it's very cosmetic things that he does. So I think I can read an oath. I believe I can do all of those things and step in when needed. And I am a notary, so it does give me a little power that I could probably do that now. But other than that, when you look at how small it is, we do the same thing. Anything we approve, anything we succeed, the whole board is succeeding at that and being able to move forward.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, the next question was, what experience do you have, which I think you've kind of answered.
Sure.
But how do you think that your experience will benefit you if elected mayor?
Sure. So my experience, of course, is 6 years, but I always add that 7th year of 2018 when I ran, because I started carrying myself as an official and I started giving the community what I wanted in an official. That was being present, showing up, getting to know, and being out there with our community. So I feel like I've been doing that. In the 6 years, I've been through a lot. I've been through 2 different mayors, and like I said, vice mayor for 4 years. In the 6 years, I have created time to learn and train. So I'm now a level 3 city official, and that is approved through and certified through Kentucky League of Cities. And that is something I have taken really pride in, because it's my personal time. There's a lot of times I do not ask for reimbursement for travel, meals, or anything like that. I want to be a better city commissioner. I want to be a better official, so now that I can lead to be mayor.
Okay.
And so that's what I've been pushing forward, so that's something I've been doing. I've also, been 10 years in city government, state government, as well as nonprofits. So I've been working well with budgets and things of that nature. What makes us different in that, and what makes me stand out from my experience, is I'm really one-on-one wanting to know what's going on with our budget.
Okay.
So that's big for me in that area.
Right. So how would you describe your leadership style?
My leadership style is Frankfort forward, Frankfort first. I'm running for mayor, not power. Any power that's afforded for me will be for the residents and for Frankfort. So I'm a team person. One thing I've done being in is make and have a good relationship with all city staff. They're all educated, they're there for a reason, and I use them to the ability to make the best decisions for Frankfort. And I feel that a leader has to have a good relationship with staff and those people who have the knowledge. Because when you look at our application, there's no qualifications except 18 and older, basically, a few signatures, and you got to live in the city.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of qualifications, right? So when you come in, we really do not know what we're doing. And being that we've been running every 2 years as commission, every 4 for mayor, it really doesn't get us a lot of time to be able to get to do, what it is we need to do.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, what do you see as the most pressing issue facing Frankfort right now?
I think the most pressing, goodness, there's so many, how do you say one? But I think the most pressing right now is housing. We need affordable housing, and that doesn't mean just one social background. That's all across the board. We need more housing. Housing brings in economic development. It brings in jobs. It allows others to be homeowners, which also raises our taxes for properties coming in. So for me, I think it's housing, and it's for every single person in this community. We want to own our own homes. Frankfort wants to own our own homes. We want more people to come here and live here, so our taxes decrease, right? And so I think that's probably the biggest, but it also funnels through economic development and bringing in more industry jobs that would allow us to afford homes.
Okay. Well, considering that we have 2 bridges currently closed indefinitely and Taylor Avenue closed indefinitely, what would your plans be for improving infrastructure in the city, particularly the bridges, the roads, sewer lines, et cetera?
Well, first and foremost, listen. And that's one thing that our city manager the other day, Jason Monroe, said that is different, that I differ from the entire board, is I listen. And I've been listening. I listen to staff. I listen to states when they say, let's tear down a bridge. We waste too many times on things because we have a certain amount of people in our ear. And I think that's where we lost. When this new board came in with Wilkerson and them, they knew there was trouble with the 2nd Street Bridge going over to Bridge Street. And it was more concentration on Broadway bridge than anything, a bridge that would only allow us to walk over. Maybe a few people would use it, but really not a need right now. The need was to put the money towards Singing Bridge to strengthen it so we could get an EMS back over it and traffic. Those conversations have been up, but when they get overlooked or dismissed when staff continues to bring them up, that's a problem. So we have to put our listening ears on, but we also have to have a plan for our city. We don't have a plan for our city. I know people will probably groan and groan over that because we have so many different, master plan and all of these. But the plan for the city that I see is being able to say, where do we want to be in 5 years? Where do we want to be in 10 years? Where do we want to be in 20? And so I think that plan needs to be set for where we need to go, because when your commissioners and mayors change every 2 to 4 years, it's really, really hard because everyone has ideas coming in. But if we can do a strategic plan for our city and how much we want to grow and where we want to move, I think it will help people coming in and continue to stay on path as little things could change along the way.
Okay. Well, so what are your financial priorities when it comes to balancing the city's budget and managing the finances responsibly?
Well, I think first and foremost is any budget should have a 5-year projection plan. We do not have that. The last 5-year projection plan for our city was when Keith Parker was here. I've been asking for a 5-year projection plan from this mayor. I've been asking. He continues to ignore me. The only time that he said that he wanted a 5-year projection plan was at the beginning of this year. I want to say it may have been around March when the budget seasons happened. And he said, oh, well, what about a 5-year projection plan? And I'm like, it took you 4 years to say that as a financial person? So that surprises me because it's a necessity. We need to know what expenses that each of our department is going to incur over the next few years and what the projection and trajectory is going to be. Are those prices and expenses going to rise? And are our dollars keeping up with that? We can't make informed decisions without having everything in front of us. And that's a 5-year projection plan. That is huge for me. That would be the first thing that I'd want to do as mayor, to make sure every single department had a 5-year projection plan, even our city as a whole. We need to know where money's going.
Well, could you talk a little bit about the comprehensive plan for Frankfort and Franklin County? It's been discussed for quite a while, I guess. And what is the goal of the plan, and what are your priorities within the plan?
Sure. At this time, I can't say that I really support full force of the comp plan right now. I really can't. But we'll see when it comes to us for approval on these maps. One thing that I don't agree with is the pushback of industrial. I think we just need to find the right location for it so we can get sewer, utilities, and things like that out there. But we really do need industrial. We're not growing as a community. So the goal is to bring in industrial jobs that are going to be $60,000 to $75,000 jobs that will then help our residents here be able to buy homes, be able to maybe work one job and stay at home with the kids more. And then that will then go all over our whole community with all of our local businesses and be able to do infield. Once you get industrial in, It's huge.
Yeah.
It does infield. It brings in homes. It brings in new people. It brings in other industrials and opportunities. The things that this community wants, like pools, indoor sporting facility, turf fields, all of this is money. And right now, the only option that Frankfort has moving forward is fees and taxes.
Right.
And we know we don't like that.
Yeah.
So the goal is trying to bring in smart industrial and be able to make good, smart decisions. And also in our regional plan, we have a regional plan that's going on right now where the governor has afforded us $4 million to go toward this regional plan, working with Lawrenceburg, Anderson County, as well as Frankfort and Franklin County. And right now, I don't know a whole lot about that because our mayor's not sharing that with me. And that should not be. We should know everything that's going on so we can make those decisions. So I have to take it upon myself to drive to Anderson County, have a meeting with their judge down there, Gritton, and figure out what's going on. And then I am then caught by saying he's the only one that signed the MOU right now to say he wants this regional growth.
Right.
Our mayor and judge has not signed it yet. And the deadline is creeping up on us. So again, are we going to sit back and pass up something that could be great for our community? Even if we have to partner with another county, it still helps us. It brings us together on 127. It brings in industrial. It brings in money for us. So we have to make sure we're making the best decision and not personal decisions. It's the best decision for Frankfort.
Okay. So one of my next questions was what specific industries would you like to bring in? And you said industrial. So is there any specific industry you'd like to see come into Frankfort?
Well, I think key is looking forward, and I think electric cars are huge now. So when you're looking at that, I think each area, Toyota, Hyundai, all of these areas are going to start bringing out more electric vehicles. So I think if we can bring some kind of sub-industry that will help those, Toyota's expanding, we need to think about where is Toyota expanding and what can we bring in that would be, I mean, we're Midwest, so we're in a great region area of 64, 75, and heading down south. So when we look at that, what will help Toyota to have something literally a few miles from them that we can manufacture right in our backyard? So I think that that's one thing. But I also think cybersecurity is huge too. So like I said, my son is going in the Army, and that's what his MOS is cybersecurity. But I think there's a way that we can pull cybersecurity in as well in IT, whether that's different hubs and maybe sub-hubs, but I think that we can maybe even bring things like that in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what strategies, you were talking about housing, so what strategies do you have to address the housing concerns of Frankfort?
Well, I think that that's a double-sided question. So I think some strategies, number one, is being able to look at our community and where we want it to grow. We cannot grow our community by 1% and think we're going to survive. We have to think bigger. So we have to start working with developers and being able to maybe do some kind of incentives. Maybe look at different properties, like I spoke earlier, in the week, and I said that we need to take some of our dilapidated properties and start cleaning them up, making sure they have utilities and sewer, and then getting them in the hands of the developers that can start bringing in housing. But we also have to take advantage of the property that the city has and say, what is the city doing for us? So one piece of property I've had my eye on since about 2019, since city commissioner, and I've talked to our sewer director about it, which is over on Shinkle Lane. And so we're putting in a new sewer pump over there and getting it all together. It didn't have sewer on it. So when we get that there, we're going to have a great piece of land. I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but it's a pretty big piece of land. And so during all of these years and now into this commission, I have been saying I want that for affordable housing.
On Shinkle, which side?
Yeah, so if you're going down Shinkle, it'd be on the left side, right beside the church there on
Right.
Shinkle.
Okay.
So it's a pretty big lot. And there I believe that we can do units, and I think we can do also single family dwellings.
Okay.
And so with that, I also on top of that want to work with the Housing Authority, who hasn't really been active, which is a shame because we actually have a member, our mayor is a member of that, and it's not been moving in the right direction for a while now. And I'd love to get them moving in the right direction, give them the power that they need to help come in and do affordable housing, pair up city, Housing Authority, but also look at what else we need. We need housing for our veterans. So I've also said in that plan, maybe we should look to maybe 10% or 20% of that area and that housing should be for veterans. And then that's another partnership that we can have and bring in more money, makes it cheaper on the developers where we can keep it affordable for all.
Okay. Well, on the wish list, or everybody's wish list, it appears is to have have an indoor pool, have a second pool.
Sure.
Maybe have 2 or 3 or 4 pools. I don't know.
Everybody wants a pool.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on the pool?
Well, right now, I think the quickest way for us to get a pool is Kentucky State University. And I know some people are against that. They don't want to put money into it. And the mayor and the judge are flopping quite a bit on that. I've stood firm in that. It's $1.2 million is what we had. In the last meeting, I know the mayor said he didn't have everything or all the information, but he does. He's been to all of the meetings. He has the same emails I have because he's on the same emails. And it's $1.2 million to fix that pool.
Yeah.
The only thing that we were waiting on is what's called the air handler. And the air handler can be very expensive, almost in a tune of almost another $1 million. But we needed to see if that actually worked because it was installed but never used. And so with that, I feel now that we've got an email, I got an email from the management company, and they said, yes, it works. I made that up. I brought that up in our city commission meeting. The last piece of information we needed to move forward, I made a motion to put $1 million toward because we had already submitted $1 million MOU that had already had expired. And so with that, I said, well, let's put $1 million toward it.
Okay.
We only need $1.5 million. That's with a contingency to put in a budget right now for KSU to finish phase 2 and phase 3 for an RFP to hopefully go out by the end of the year, maybe mid-January, and possibly have this pool up and running by mid-November if we can keep focus. But I think, like you said, 2-3 pools. We have other people thinking about another pool, which I've spoke with Superintendent Kopp many years ago, about 3 years ago, and he wants a pool.
Yeah.
He wants the school to have a pool. It's a necessity, and he wants so much for Franklin County. And they do have the money to do the pool. They already have the land for the pool. It's over by the hospital. So what the school could be doing right now is designing the pool because it takes a long process, right?
Yep.
But instead we have our mayor and our judge trying to get property over off Martin Luther King to put this indoor facility because they want it in the center of Frankfort. I don't think our community really cares if it's in the center of Frankfort. They just want a nice indoor pool. And if that's pushing back the county from moving forward, the county schools moving forward, I say leave it alone and put it on the property they want. And then the other idea that COP has is an performance arts center. Why not put that in the center of Frankfort where everyone can use it? But putting a pool on Martin Luther King didn't make sense to me, only because it's not walkable for any of our communities at all. Who's going to send their kid down East-West Connect or up Martin Luther King? They're not.
Yeah.
So I think it should be toward one side or the other. But I definitely support both pools. But the quickest way to get a pool is to work with Kentucky State, hopefully with the YMCA to manage that pool, and Kentucky State and YMCA together can keep that pool moving in the right direction. I helped create what's called Swim with Purpose. It's an organization. We've raised almost $450,000 right now to go toward this pool because we care about the KSU students, the community, and kids learning how to swim and actually getting in to be able to do physical activity.
Right.
So if we can all work together and not worry about the egos and take out the egos, we could be so much further in this community. It's not about Katrisha. It's not about Swim with Purpose. It's about the people of Frankfort. They're tired of driving to Georgetown and Versailles, and they want a pool. While we're arguing on who gets the glory,
Yeah.
things are expensive. They're increasing every month that we put it off.
Right.
So that's where I'm with the pool.
You mentioned the convention center.
Yes.
Or performing arts center.
Yes.
And the General Assembly did put money towards a Frankfort Convention Center in the last session. What are your thoughts on that, and how would you like to see that move forward?
Well, I'm very grateful. I'm grateful that they put money for it. I'm grateful for Senator Stivers, his leadership going into this area. Senator Stivers, was really faithful in saying he was going to put money aside, and that was before we were knocking on the doors all the time. And then in between him promising at least maybe $5 million is what I was told, then it moved up to 11.2. So where we're at right now, to me, that's a progress. I've asked for $5 million to be put towards so we can show some grit in the game. You can't keep going asking someone for money if you've not put any money forward either.
Right.
And now I think they're trying to use the parking garage maybe to be our side of it. I'm all for a convention center, but it needs to be the right space for Frankfort. So when we have Capitol Plaza talking about adding 20,000 square feet of convention space to their hotel, and then you have a mayor within the same time saying, oh, let's push this RFP out for 30 days. Anyone in their right mind knows that an RFP out for 30 days is not suitable for regular companies to be able to apply to an RFP. as to why we only had 1.5 people apply to that RFP. My statement after that said, I do not think we need to move forward with either one of these. I think we need to go back to the drawing field. We need to know what it is we need. And that's where we're at right now. The city managers agreed with me and held it off. And now we're working with a company trying to find out exactly what kind of space we really need. If they're going to give us 20,000 square feet of convention space, of meeting space, we do need to look more toward maybe the performing arts side. So we do not oversaturate ourselves with meeting space that will then be open, duplicate service, and waste the taxpayers' money.
Okay.
Let's use it for what they want.
Okay. Well, what would you do to improve the relationship between the city government and the community?
Well, for me, I feel like I have a great relationship with the community, and that's because I lead with what I promise. When we're running for office on this side, we can't promise anything, but the character, your integrity, and transparency, that I can promise my community, along with accessibility and engagement. Those are things that I can control and that I think an official should do on a daily basis. So that's what I've done for 7 years when first time I've asked them for a vote. And that's what I'll continue to do. The community wants to know who you are and that they can come up and have a conversation with you and you actually care about their problems. Mm-hmm. For me, I'm boots on the ground.
Yeah.
You'll see me in tennis shoes, you'll see me in t-shirt, you'll see me in heels. My feet are hurting, but you'll see me in heels every now and then. Yeah. But for me, when someone calls, like I had a call from Silver Lake. It was in the middle of a torrential downpour. Right. He said, I'm having flooding issues again, Commissioner Waldridge. And I said, okay, where are you at? And he told me his address. I put down the phone. I put on my rain boots, a hoodie and some jeans, and I took off. And people were like, why? What are you going to do? You don't know the flooding issue unless you see it during the flood. Right. So I put myself in the flooded area, took some pictures, took some videos, so I know exactly what's going on. That's the kind of leadership I am. That's the kind of leader I am. And you will get that for another 4 years. I am dedicated to this, and that's what the community deserves.
Okay. Well, what ideas do you have for enhancing tourism and promoting Frankfort's historical significance?
Wow, that's a big one. Yeah. Everyone loves the historic. I do too. When we go back to the bridge, I felt like not saving the bridge was huge. But why can't we put up a marker, right, to hold on to that value of that bridge and know that it was there? We can put up a marker and do a bridge later. But I think tourism in the overall picture for me is beautification in our downtown. Mm-hmm. Our downtown's already beautiful, but there's so much more we can do. There's empty barrels right now that don't have flowers. There's things that we can do during Christmas, but continue to communicate and make our community more welcoming for Buffalo Trace. We've got to make sure from where Buffalo Trace is in our downtown that it's wanting people to come in. It's feeding people into our downtown. Right now, it's not. They don't go past Buffalo Trace unless they turn up 127 or go back toward Lexington. So the goal is to make it inviting all the way down through there, all the way down Wilkerson. So it's like, hey, come into our community. Yeah. I have to say, though, our community is doing really good on filling stores downtown. We have a new store, fancy Flamingo downtown, what goes back to my leadership. I was just walking downtown. And I saw her and her husband, and I approached them, didn't know them, and said, can I sell you this building? Yeah. And they said, oh, no. And I said, well, it's so many miles from Buffalo Trace. We have Kentucky State. We have all these things. And they said, well, you sound like a politician. Yeah, and I said, I am. Yep. But I'm just trying to sell my community. It's worthwhile putting money into Frankfort. Right. And that was over 1.5 years ago. Well, about a year later, she gives me a call out of the blue and says, hey, I'm interested in moving my business. And I said, I'll meet you Monday and I'll take you downtown and show you all these empty spots. And I did that. We met Monday. We walked all the way downtown and she found a great spot and has now opened her business here.
Well, that's great.
That's the kind of leadership and communication that people want in this community, and to be able to bring people in. You have to be able to talk to everyone. Yep. I can talk to everyone in this community and I get a lot of hugs. They've become my family. And so when we go back to tourism, that's all it's about, being welcoming.
Right.
All times be welcoming.
Okay. Well, I think we're at that point where you get to look into the camera and ask people for their vote and tell us anything about yourself that I didn't cover. And the show is yours.
All right, great. Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for taking the time to watch here with Frankfort Plant Board. They do such a great job in bringing the candidates to you in your home. It is important to know what's going on in your community at all times. I've been serving for 6 years. I feel 7 because I really earned your vote in 2018. I've done nothing but get better and better as a city commissioner and represent your community. Each dollar that we spend, each vote that we spend, you may not agree with everything I do, and I understand, because we don't agree with people that we live with all the time, do we? But no, I am here for you and for Frankfort. My 6 years of experience has me ready and prepared to be mayor, as I feel I've already changed. I've already been carrying myself as mayor. I have the same relationships, if not more, that the mayor continues to say that he has. Make sure that you know that relationships are more than pictures. Relationships bring dollars into our community. And those dollars should help with infrastructure, should help with industrial, and should help with tourism and our downtown beautification. One thing that I will be in Frankfort is knowing that Frankfort is huge. It is our heart, and that's what it is. That's our responsibility to take care of as a city, is Frankfort. This C over here is for the capital city. I will make sure that the capital city and the men and women that serve us daily in the capital take responsibility for the capital city portion of Frankfort. That is adding us into the budget line as capital city so they can help take care of the infrastructure, the tourism that comes in, and to making sure that our community is thriving and that it's leading in Frankfort. It's time that we stand up and ask for more for our in lieu of taxes, and that we take our rightful seat as Frankfort, as the capital city, and work with the governor as well as the leadership in the capital. It's not about a D and a R. It's about what's right for Frankfort and about relationships that will be long-lasting, that will continue to make Frankfort better for all of the people forward. Again, my name is Katrisha Waldridge. I would love to represent you for the next 4 years. I promise you will not be disappointed. And it's time that leadership lead with leadership. And running for mayor is about servantship for you and not about power. Any power that's afforded me at any time will be in the best interest of Frankfort. My opponent, he may out-fundraise me. And a lot of people think it takes money to win a race. But here, we are a city manager-ran government. It doesn't take money to win a race. It takes hard work and effort and someone who is connected to you to always do what's right for Frankfort. And that is me. I will continue to be a hard worker for you and continue to do what's right for Frankfort. I ask for your vote. My website is www.katrisha-waldridge.com. At this time, it is down because it's been hacked, but I will get it up and running hopefully very soon. But I'd appreciate your vote, and we can continue to keep Frankfort forward and know that you have a mayor. You vote for me, it's a vote for you, and for a vote for Frankfort. So thank you.
Well, Katrisha, thank you so much for coming by today, and I know our viewers appreciate hearing from you. And to our viewers, I'd like to remind you to get out and vote on Tuesday, November 5th, and then tune in to Channel 10 to hear the results as they come in to the county clerk's office. I'd like to thank you for joining us today, and thank you for your time.